I love the fucking dumbass conspiracies and theorists that just kind of create things out of nowhere without any sort of evidence or any sort of proof or anything like that. But like, you know what? Who gives a shit about these proofs and evidence? You know, at the end of the day, just have fun. The government's lying to you about most things in life, so might as well try to figure out here and there what might be wrong, what might be correct. You know the classics, the ice wall, or the earth is flat, and like I'm gonna talk about in this video and stuff like that. And also like this, there was also like a gay bomb or something like that. You know what? Fair play. At the end of the day, the government were first to a lot of things like gender diversity and also trans diversity and trans rights. You know, I respect it because I'm still coming for like thinking of something like that. That's fair. I understand that, but everything else that comes after, actually, that was kind of correct in the matter because I've seen a documentary where I've seen a couple of these devices and these equipment and parts of history that were actually true, but were considered conspiracy and stuff like that, but like were weirdly affecting daily lives of millions of people sometimes. Like for instance, there was a heart attack gun that would kill people automatically, and the cause of the death would always be a heart attack, which is crazy to think about because a lot of random situations could happen where these so-called evil people or these so-called politically opposing forces that the government have to take down, and it's automatically a heart attack for no reason. Kind of, kind of suspicious a little bit, but at the end of the day, you can't really predict anything like that. I pray for the best for everyone because it's gonna be tough times coming up because a lot of political things are happening all around the world and a lot of combat and war and stuff like that, and terrifying stuff that I hope everyone's safe and uh, aware of the situation, educate yourselves about what's going on around the world. So at the end of the day, if eventually it's going to affect you, and even if it doesn't affect you right now or won't affect you afterwards, just try to support people that have been affected. Because at the end of the day, just be a nice person, be a good person. That's all that matters. But let's talk about conspiracies as a whole and all of the different amazing conspiracies and like break them down a little bit in detail and try to figure out if certain conspiracies correct maybe. Let's talk about the moon landing first because I hear a lot of people like a lot of let's say conservatives and like I don't know what you call it, that sort of party, but I'm not really a political guy. I don't really research politics and stuff like that. I'm more of a science and like English type of guy. Like I like writing. I've been trying to get some literacy improvement and like education about in terms of writing stories and like writing novels and stuff like that because I'm very much interested in that myself. But and also animation is very lovely. But in terms of like which is going to come perfectly into what I'm going to say. There's a lot of people that think that the moon landing is fake or it's animated or it's like special effects or something like that, which is I respect the hustle. That's all I have to say. Like all this time with all this proof and evidence with the satellites and everything hovering around the Earth or hovering around the moon, everything, even having satellites going across different planets on all the other planets have round moons and round their surfaces kind of thing. But the only non-round or non-spherical object in our solar system is a moon for some goddamn reason. Like you can say an asteroid, and you can say like, for instance, you can say like the moon is an asteroid broken down, fabricated into a certain shape and stuff like that. But like just in general, a moon, it's kind of insane to think about. I kind of beforehand I kind of believe this kind of stuff because, of course, the idea of being a theorist and conspiracy and creating these conspiracies are always fun for me. I always enjoy the idea of thinking of the future, thinking of outside the box kind of things. Like, for instance, like there's a lot of surveillance and stuff like that around the world. I feel like we're being watched constantly. Like, there's ads everywhere about the things that we like for no reason. It follows us everywhere we go So there is a certain level of protection that we don't have, or there's a certain level of like surveillance, like detection systems and like surveillance that we are not being aware of because of the easy availability of certain different services and different systems and everything like that, which is kind of which is very bad in general because we're like taught in school and everything to be like somewhat aware of the government, but at the same time we're taught to forget about a lot of the stuff that the government do. And like we know of course the Aboriginal, the black rights and everything like that, but like in terms of just the systems themselves, the cameras that watch us, the data collection and everything like that, of course there might be like a computer engineering class that you take and you learn about those kind of stuff, but it's more of like programming, robotics and stuff like that. But like we don't really learn the importance of like, I guess because the internet is more new compared to, it's not new, but it's like 20 years in development. It usually typically takes like more than 20 years to like do something for a government for some goddamn reason. Like to like 20 years to, it takes like at least 5 years to build a road. So I don't expect them to create a new system where we can protect our surveillance and protect our private data and everything like that quickly like that. But there are VPNs and everything like that, which is pretty useful. But in general, I don't think like protecting our data. I think protecting our data should be a crucial information that we learn in schools and learning education and everything like that, because every sort of password, every sort of data breach or anything like that, or any sort of like information that you keep private and any data you want to keep private, like for example your passport, your Visa card, your money, everything like that, you should probably learn the importance of doing that. But I guess the government even having, I guess the government even being this dumb and this like incompetent, you expect them to be able to create the moon landing by themselves without any sort of like like it could be like a third party kind of service that it did, but at the same time, these kind of stuffs are very like they can easily be broken down or easily solved by using your brain and using common sense sometimes. But it's like what do you expect? Like even though the government is misleading and very incompetent, they're very evil in general. Like they you should be considered the government not a good force, no matter if you're a democratic or you're conservative or something like that. Green party, blue party, orange party, I don't give a shit. Just don't trust the government. Make your own judgment based on the best possible the best possible reality that we can live in, that everyone can live in, not just you, because that's very selfish of you. At the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta protect yourself. You gotta protect your family. You gotta protect your legacy. You gotta protect your history and everything like that. I'm being the indigenous people and some people that are don't have the same rights and same privileges as don't get to do, which is something you got to understand, something you got to respect and everything like that. But at the same time, just just be nice, just be kind to people at the end of the day. But in general, let's go back to conspiracies. So we talked about the moon landing. So there were like instances where like this special effects being used, or like some sort of details of changes of the atmosphere or like the surface of the middle, or like it's like edited for like, the person inside the moon or on top of the moon, being a little bit AI kind of thing. And AI, of course, wasn't as advanced as then, but it kind of, I get the idea of course they're trying to hide some stuff, of course that's the government for sure, but at the end of the day, I don't think as big of as a, because this moon landing was because of the World War, of course, the World War II, where we were trying to face, no, it was a civil war. No, not civil war was way before. It was I don't remember, but like it was like the Russia put like a missile system aimed towards the U.S. I don't remember any specific details or anything, but like it was like to become the first person to go on the moon and have the sort of advantage over the over Russia or over US, depending on which side you are on. But it's the idea that we would use that kind of projection or just that kind of advantage against ourselves because for why would they try to lie about? I guess because they want to act like they're. But isn't there? There's a whole ISS system where like there's astronauts from all around the world that come together and do our research and everything like that. But like eventually, someone will spill the beans, right? Like, I'm not talking about like the redditors on the internet or YouTubers or something like that. But I'm talking about like actual scientists and astronauts that were part of the service itself. I feel like eventually someone's gonna spill the beans and say everything about what's happening. But like, I feel like that would be a very kind of incorrect. It might be incorrect assumption for myself because, of course, they could be blackmailed, paid under the rug. They could be forced to do a certain thing. Maybe their families are in danger or something like that. Because we know the services that the government provide. The what do you call it? The you know like the underground policing system and like that. Like in comments you'll tell me, but there's a lot of systems and like, a lot of these policing systems and everything like that you can just hide from the general public that you can use as a blackmailing system or like a targeting system where like you can target specific people and then take them down, which is kind of scary because we're in a somewhat of a democracy right now, right? So we're not in the we're not in capitalism or something. We're in a capitalism. We're not in the dictatorship system where we like everyone has the same amount of money and you have this overloading force of the like for instance Hitler or Stalin. This is educational purposes for those wondering. Don't I don't promote any of those sort of stuff. I don't support anything like that. I stay in my own lane. But like we don't we're in a political system where we're getting a little we're going to the bad side a little bit. Not too much because there is certain levels of restrictions and like limits to the governmental power, but we're getting there eventually. And I feel like these political choices that we're deciding on, have not been the best choices that been making so far. I feel like eventually it's gonna bite us in the ass, and we're gonna regret making these political choices and everything like that. But right now, we're just kind of flowing with time, flowing with space to see what happens. These some of these kind of people that trust the political figures like Joe Biden or Trump or anything like that don't like these people that have so much concrete support of these people. I don't understand it. Personally, I just don't understand the feeling of feeling being that demanding of being that supportive or that prideful that it doesn't matter about anything else. It's just the choice you make, the the American pride, the American figure that you as a community chose. That guy is the best thing ever. He does everything correct. Like there has to be limits to it. There's limits to everything. Like if you talk about the Canadian government, Trudeau is a horrendous government. Trudeau is a horrendous politician, but he's generally dumb as hell, to be honest too, because he doesn't know how to voice his opinions properly. He doesn't know how to make actual good decisions for once. But and also like you can say he's bad president. Of course, he's a bad president. I agree on that because that's something I actually agree on full-heartedly. But you have Pierre, the other guy that's part of the election, that he has some nails loose. I gotta admit. I've been on like because people have this one I guess one-sided opinion in certain cases. Once like they're narrow-minded in opinions that they create, which are diluted by just having one possible evidence or proof or anything like that. Like in general, I feel like when you see someone that's energetic, that's happy, excited about things, you kind of get this idea that this guy's gonna be a good president. But don't ever trust like that. Make a judgment based on actual the laws and everything that they create and everything like that. But don't get fooled by these innocent mindsets that you think they have. Don't do that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But in general, these government figures are not trustworthy. The government in general are not trustworthy. Don't ever actually believe in the government because that's the dumbest thing you could ever do. But like in general, you can respect certain things that the government do because they have the evidence, they have the proof. The scientists are the guys that are actually accomplishing these, not the government. I don't give a shit with the politicians. I trust the government. I trust the scientists, the engineers, everything that who have actual proper evidence and information about what they're doing. Which I believe in this case the NASA scientists are trustworthy because they're not directly influenced by. They are influenced by the government, but not everything is influenced by the government. Let's be honest. Yeah, I guess for those wondering, I'm not the type of guy that would say that every single thing is the government's problem. The government's not responsible for everything, every little thing. I understand there are like wars happening all around the world. You have to spread, you have to send aid and support and everything. And there's some services that in the country itself that aren't provided resources or aren't advanced enough to do the things that they have to do. But there are things that the government can't really do in cases of the NASA government in terms of the astronauts and everything like that, like the moon landing and everything. I believe somewhat to be governmental kind of alteration or editing to make it look like a little bit more cleaner in a way. I don't believe the exact moon landing is fake, but I feel like certain editing, there's editing devices and everything like that to make it look more real than it. It's not fake, but it's not like everything is not real. Like you're not gonna see the full moon in actual the photos and everything like that because it's gonna be much darker, much more colder. You're not gonna be able to see like these small details and everything like that, which the government like you see like biologists use like these coloring systems and everything like that to make small details visible. I think that's what the government is doing with the moon landing and everything like that, and all the editing and everything like that, which is not a problem because it makes it easier for the public to view it and understand it. But it is bringing some conspiracies and stuff like that. But you gotta do what you gotta do. And something there's nothing you can really do about that shit. But in general, let's talk about some other stuff that I want to voice my opinion on. Which is second of all, I want to talk about the ice wall or the Earth is flat conspiracy because I've been hearing a lot of those coming out lately. It's like there's like a small lapse of time that there's a huge amount of people that bring up the idea of the Earth is flat, and then randomly out of nowhere they decide to stop doing that shit, and then they come back and do this shit again. But for some reason, something happens to them that they can't argue or go against. That they just can't. That just kind of disappeared for a moment, and they came back because that's how every sort of conspiracy happens. Like kind of it's kind of deleted for a moment, and then after some time, you kind of feel a bit more data. You get more data. You feel you get the experiences and everything there, like, and you get the new viewpoint and everything. But in terms of the video I watched about like the four scientists, the four people that believe the Earth is flat, I have a different opinion of I don't have a different I have a general opinion of the public, but also I feel like at the same time the scientists were a little bit biased. Let's be honest here. There are certain cases where there are things hidden that we don't know about, and like for instance, the ocean itself. Like we have no idea what's inside the ocean. We could be living in this sort of dimension or this sort of uh, AI. Fuck, who knows? But like you know what I'm talking about. Like we have all these conspiracy and everything there. Some of these are eventually going to be true because, of course, there's a whole documentaries of all the conspiracies that become true, like in Illuminati, for instance. Like there was like a cult following about like religious cult following that they like of course eventually everything like goes away and runs away something like that, but like in general these conspiracies are eventually somewhat true sometimes or just completely false, and but sometimes they're like fully on something that is more serious than we actually think it is, which could be the earth is flat. I don't think the earth is flat, but I think the government control. Like I'm going back to my statement from before, saying that the government doesn't control that much. I have a multiple viewpoints on this. I have a conspiracy on this. Of course, isn't my actual viewpoint, but just to give it out, tell everything I know. But like, you kind of feel like a little bit like weirdness about the government and the control of the earth and everything. That like there's a lot of gases around the earth. They're able to control the gases. They're able to extract the salt water or the salted water. They're able to surveillance. They're able to like watch over everything we do. They're able to understand different systems, different situations. They're able to get past VPN sometimes, like blackmail some couple of people. Like, what else can they actually do? Like, I'm thinking about this. Like, there's so much capabilities that the government can just hide from us that we kind of just deal with and move on with our lives, which is at the same time it's both positive and negative because you have to move on with your life and you just can't do anything. You can't do shit about it. But the negatives come from like our data being stolen regularly, like hackers being easily able to extract our data, extract information, extract our private information, extract the money that we saved in banks or like into the system or data. Even like hackers being able to like get into the political, get into like the policing systems, the governmental systems and data, which is insane to think about because these should be the most secure systems ever. But some sort of random kid hacker is able to bypass all the systems and that. And we know what happened in this. Of course, I don't know everything, every small detail, but we know that there's been files like given up out in the public and everything about the government and all of its secret services, everything like that, which is kind of insane. Like, and also that whole thing just kind of felt like it was dug under the rug or something, or put under the rug. It's like there's a whole like system, like the whole like like secret service system, and all these policing systems and to like take down people, to hide people, to prevent like media from showing people, which is crazy to think about. Like we have these rights and freedoms, but I feel like there's certain limits to these rights and freedoms that we shouldn't have. But it is how it is sometimes. I don't know. Like we created like these whatever you call it, whatever system you have, but the rights, the amendments, I think that's what you call it in Americans. But like you have these amendments all protecting us, but like the government decides that they just decide that they just don't want to care about them. All of a sudden, like that's a scary kind of feeling to have because we have the right to protest, we have the right to express ourselves, but like, what is the limit to that? What should be the limit to that? I want to know you guys' opinion about the limit to the expression and protest because I feel like there, of course, is a limit in terms of like racism, discrimination, targeting people, attacking people for no reason. But like, there's a certain thing. There's a scary thought I have in my mind right now. Like having like there's a lot of like, rights and laws being created right now, and or laws being sent to the prime. Oh, shit, I forgot. I'm actually speech impediment. I'm sorry about that, but like like the law system, everything like that. I went to law school, man, and not law school. I went to law classes, but like I don't remember anything about that class. Like I got like 100%, and I forgot everything. Like I don't understand. I don't give a shit about law to be honest. I should probably give some more of a civil law because I'm talking about right now, and just a lot of things that I'm interested in it right now, and like enjoy talking about and talking about with you guys. So it might be a case where I do more law practice and law understanding and everything like that, but like in general, I feel like everything in this I feel like everything like that we express ourselves like the trans right, for instance, that Trump is trying to do something with for some goddamn reason. I'm scared about that. I'm of course not a trans individual, but I respect people of different color, different race, different um, origins, different opinions, things like that. Of course, if those opinions aren't complete dumb shit and bullshit, but I respect it. But I'm scared of the limits to like we're going back to 1900s kind of thing, which is not doesn't make any sense because the reason why we were in this situation was because of the poor health, the poor economic situation that we were in. There's the situation, the overall horrible situation we were in after the war. We have the Great Depression, of course, stopping the stock market and everything like that. We were in that situation because we were doing all of that dumb shittery and our government, so we're all doing this horrible, like taking care of us, horribly taking care of us and everything. That horribly taking care of them. My bad, but I wasn't living during that time. If I was, I don't know what I would have been done, but in general, you can understand. In Of course, you can because these governments are not trustworthy, not some people you can actually believe in, which is respectable. But at the same time, comparing that to the situation we're in right now, which is somewhat better, I would say, because we are in a better economic. I guess not. We're like being taxed billions of dollars that we haven't paid. We're doing these tariffs that are increasing the cost of basic items in a store or like international items that we should be getting much easily and much in a better amount. But like the terrorists like are reducing all of this international support and stuff like that, which is so stupid. I hated the idea of it, but at the same time, you're gonna have to. Eventually, humanity is gonna prosper and stuff like that. But like, it's still having its effect nowadays, which is the most annoying part of it because there were times when Trump could have decided not to do it or could stop it early, but decided to keep with it, which is something I like. I hate like commitment is good, of course, in certain situations. Of course, if you're dating, if you're marrying, commitment is good. If you're doing something that you very much enjoy or passionate about, commitment is very good. But very commitment in egotistical manners, like what Trump is doing right now, is horrendous. It's it's how to destroy a country that's been built upon for decades and centuries with like all of these complex systems, all these rules and laws that prevent this kind of stuff from happening, and you just kind of break it. You act like nothing's happening, and it's just like so stupid. I understand Joe Biden wouldn't have done any better. I guess no, he would have probably done nothing to be honest. But in my personal opinion, at the end of the day, none of these politicians are trustworthy. They're all gonna make bad choices. Definitely bad choices, not the good ones, of course. But like, you can't really trust anyone, which is the scary part. And going back to the flat Earth thing, you know what? Fuck it. Who gives a shit? Like, there's no reason to disagree. Like, I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not doing anything to anyone. I hope I'm not making anyone dumb as hell or making anyone actually believe myself. Don't believe me. Don't. I have horrendous takes. I'm gonna make more horrible takes later on in my life. Just don't trust what I'm saying. I'm gonna warn you here. I hope you're listening because everything I said so far and everything I've said so far and everything I'm gonna say later on, I don't believe in. To be honest, I'm just kind of yapping. I'm not yapping. I'm saying what's in my heart, but like I'm not saying it as a complete end all statement because I might change my opinion later on. That's human nature, of course, because you grow up, you change your opinion, you change your viewpoints on the topics and stuff like that. But make sure to subscribe, like, and share if you've gone this far. If you have, I appreciate everything. I wouldn't have expected people to go this far in general because it's kind of boring to be honest. I want to put some cat videos on the screen so you can make yourself feel more comfortable. But in general, I'm just talking about like things like conspiracy theorists and conspiracies that I don't give a I don't I give a shit about, but like are dumb as hell for some goddamn reason. Like all of you're gonna make a conspiracy about a cult, religion, and stuff like that because there's a lot of like negative, there's a lot of dark cults and dark religious um, not anything. I'm not talking any religious. I'm not attacking any religious stuff or anything like that. I'm just talking about like the fake religious stuff, like the people that think they're religious or think they're doing this for God and stuff like that, but aren't actually doing this for they're doing this for Hades and stuff like that, or for the devil. So those type of people, those actual um, atheists people or like these people that have their own rules and stuff like that that don't follow the religions that are prosperous and are actually true and everything like that. But those type of religious situations and environments and like groups and organizations are so fucking oh, sorry, my bad. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I was fuck. I meant shit. I'm sorry. It just came out of my mouth for some kind of reason. I apologize. I'm sorry. I don't mean it. With my whole heart, I don't mean it. Something I said it. I was gonna say I apologize. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't. Oh, shit. My bad. Right. My bad. But like in general, those you understand what I'm talking about. I'm not taking it. I'm not. I'm not meaning what you think I'm meaning, but you know what I'm talking about. Like they're actually let's say they're reformed. They're reformed from the system that they believe to be incorrect or believe to not be following the correct form, which is insane racism and discrimination. But they create these rules like the rules like self-sacrifice rules and stuff like that, and like the rules that make people uncomfortable as hell and connect these certain situations at a weird moment. I'm not gonna talk about that stuff. You know what I'm talking about? The sexual stuff and stuff like that. I'm not talking about shit because there's a lot of weird stuff going on in these random underground. Not random because there are a lot of there's a lot of these religious fake religious groups that are famous and very insanely popular and actually have control of these majority of these people and have some have political power here and there because of course you have the mafia and everything like that which are gone years ago but like there's kind of new mafia system in a way but it's like you have these politically driven or sometimes even sacrificial driven and stuff like that like God is this figure that would want this kind of stuff, but he doesn't want any of those. I'm not religious for those wondering, but I'm not talking anything about it. Though it is a case where it's like you see these dark figures and dark evil people that take control of these or manipulate children or teenagers or adults into doing some things that they don't want to do, which is always a bad part of history. There's a lot of moments like that. Of course, you have the KKK. I don't know if they're a religious group, but they're horrendously driven by mindsets of discrimination or viewpoints of bias based off prejudice and opinions of these people. These black people can be considered lower than them for some kind of reason. Like I don't know where they came from, but I guess maybe it came from Adam or Eve or historical stuff or the religious past stuff, something like that, like where like white people are dominant, or maybe it was like Germany or something like that, but they take the inspiration from. If they took it from Germany, that is insane stuff to think about. But like it just shows like the impact of communism and discrimination and racism all around the world because of the moments of like 9/11 and everything like that, and also like the Jewish Holocaust and everything like that, that like changed the history and the viewpoint and opinions of people all around the world for some kind of reason. And it just kind of stayed there for like a long time it's still impacting people from nowadays, which is it's been happening for like generations and generations, which is insane. We know now the new target is immigration and people from not from the U.S. that come from like Africa, Mexico, something like that. You have a certain prejudice and a discrimination against those people. I've seen a lot of people on the internet, on Twitter specifically, that just kind of yap and say nonsense for getting attention, or they actually believe in that sort of stuff and like put information out for some kind of reason. I don't understand the idea of doing that sort of stuff. Like, I guess like there's Elon Musk who, let's be honest, I'm not gonna say anything, but you understand what I'm talking about. For those wondering, if you actually trust these people that are in power, don't trust these people in power. They say one thing and they do the other thing. Pretty much, they do the opposite of what they actually say. Like for instance, Twitter is supposed to be a much better platform, but it hasn't been a better platform for such a long time. It has been downhill ever since, like long before even Musk was taking control. Like he didn't do anything. He's made it tougher to like for some kind of reason. Now he's so in countries that you were born in or located in for some kind of reason. Like now all our privacy, all our private data and everything that are gone. And for those wondering, I'm not from India, I'm not from Africa. So those wondering if I'm actually saying it because I'm from those countries, I'm not doing it because I'm doing it because I'm actually believing what I'm saying and like and proud to for black people, for Indian people that get their rights out, they get their freedom and rights. I'm proud. I'm happy for them to get their opinions out and express themselves. Of course, there's limits to that. Of course, for everything in life, there are limits to everything. Don't do any like that sort of uh, criminal stuff or anything like that. I'm not saying it in general because of I'm not racist, but like in general, I don't support anything like that because there are certain things, there's certain clips that, of course, they're nitpicked and everything, but like there's certain clips online that subject people that are in the minority into a certain situation that the mass majority wouldn't be in, but they kind of put us in a moment, put us in a situation where like where thought is evil because of one single person, which is the most dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. But in general, all this stuff happened. Kind of just let it happen. That's all. I'm gonna talk about more about other conspiracies and other things I want to talk about. I'm gonna do multiple parts in this podcast weekly, most likely. Please subscribe, like, and share. I hope you enjoy. And yeah, um, I'll make it short. I'll make it longer next time because this isn't much long. But I don't want to keep speaking and yapping and boring you guys. But like, yeah, I hope you enjoy. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And take care. Bye bye. See you.